Brother James, thank you for joining me. Well, we love you, Dr. Funkenstein. Yo, funk is the best. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host. Eight Wind is timeless. It all starts with a gentle sadness. I am the Galactic Daddy-O, sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. Thank you for joining me, Brother James. Mr. T Gaming, thank you. Hey, Rocky, what's up? I suck, James. I suck. I lost all the playing games. Texas Southern, I was kind of torn, and they shot well. And that's what I was afraid of. I knew if Texas Southern shot well, they had a good chance because they got some shooters on that team. But Michigan State, it was like at the end of the game, one of those last passes. So you're right-handed, you're posted up. You want the ball here. The dude reaches for it with his offhand. And that I almost made a video of that because that was very scripted. But the call where the dude hit the ball, went out of bounds, he hit the ball. It was clear. And it should have been a foul, too, and they didn't call it. But that's how it goes. So I sucked. So I was like 0-4. And again, I didn't have much faith in Michigan State. They haven't played well all year. The one big fella was yelling at Saban when they was going into halftime, which is a bad look. It shows a little loss of control. And I hope that doesn't cost Saban in the end. And they're saying, that he can't relate. Because, again, that cat been there. That cat was there. Saban was there when Magic was there. He was assistant coach under I can picture the old coach's face. But he was back when they were still playing in the old Breslin Center. But so he's been coaching there probably close to 50 years, coaching Michigan State. So he's been the head coach like 20, maybe 30 years. So he's been there for a long time. But yeah, I sucked. And I only watched, again, I don't have True TV, but I only watched 2 of the games. And the games were good. I mean, the State game was good. UCLA's one of their players got hurt. But I mean, the game really was, they had a 1-1. Dude misses 1-1. State, the game was either tied or State was up 1. And they don't get the rebound on a 1-1. I mean, it's like the guys kind of quit on them. So, but that last entry pass where he reaches with the offhand, I mean, again, if it's long and you reach with your offhand, there's no way you're going to get it. So it looked like that play was thrown away on purpose. So didn't do very well, but watched the 2 games. That was interesting. I listened to Craig Facts. I love to listen to the comedians. So drinking water. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. And I'm not drinking. I'm still smoking on something. So and I still blow big stacks. You know where I get that from? Who's the vape god? They was trying to interview him, and he's just got 2 or 3 vapes, and that's what he said. They kept asking him questions. He kept going, I blow big stacks. So that's where I get that from. So can't say, wasn't really disappointed. I mean, just shows you the unpredictability. But again, the scripting. The scripting appeared to be for UCLA in that game. Surprised Norfolk State won. And, you know, looking at Norfolk State, I don't know if y'all remember this, but this happened about 12 or 13 years ago. Norfolk State used to have some, about 14 years ago, they had some really creative jerseys. And a boy here was wearing his jersey, and a person killed him over the damn jersey. I don't know, remember, because it wasn't a hole in the jersey, but I don't know if the boy took the jersey off and he shot him, because obviously there wasn't a hole in the jersey, but killed him over a fucking jersey. The dude said he was going to a party later that night and he wanted to wear that jersey. So just tells you, hey, Crazy Sarge. So it just tells you the simplicity of something that really wasn't even that special. But that's what it made me think of when I saw that it was in the league. But two HBCs, they call them now, went forward. Again, one of the baddest dudes I ever saw was Machine Gun Kelly out of Texas Southern. I think his name was Terry Kelly. That joker, he dropped 44 on Joe Binion and them at A&T. He dropped some big numbers on them. And I think he ended up having a tryout with the Bulls, and I think he ended up, he was working in the water department. I think when I was working in the water department, we were around the same age. So I imagine he's still there. I bet if you look up Terry Kelly, he's probably still there. He didn't play in Europe or anything. As far as I knew, he was working for the water department down wherever he was from, Texas, I think. So, but that made me think of him. But so they still have good shooters down there. So my picks just sucked. We'll see how the rest of it plays out. And my son, like, he wanted to see my thing, what I picked, because he didn't pick any. He's like, Dad, you missed this and you missed that. Where's it at? I thought I pulled it over here. Well, I guess I just tried to pop my cat with it, so must have left it over there. But I did lose all 4 of the play-in games, so that's how it goes sometimes. Doesn't appear to be a lot happening in the world today. Again, they're still trying to play this the killing in the killing in Atlanta. Now you remember first they said that he had, as far as they know, he had never frequented the place. And then today they come out and say, well, yeah, he frequented the places a lot. And I was just talking to one of my friends, and most massage parlors are fairly secluded in some ways. Like you go in and it's a person in the front, and then you don't have a lot of you just don't have a lot of people. I mean, it's very, like, some of them have in the past I've known had security because I've known people that work at them. But it reminded me a story that I was just telling my friend about an hour ago about a massage parlor. I used to work with this cat, and this cat had a son. The son had came into my store. I was managing a Health Rider store in Michigan at the time. And the young man came in and bought something from me. I don't remember, jump rope, something. I don't remember what he bought, but he bought some shit. And so I met him, and I worked with his dad. So I knew his dad. His stepmother worked at the mall when I was working at the mall, because I was working at the mall and I was working at Johnson Control. And so I knew the young man, knew his father well. And so one night the boy is with this other fiend. He's with a fiend. So the boy was obviously or apparently selling rocks. And so they go to the massage parlor. I think he was selling rocks for sex. And I don't know if the girls ran out of money. I really don't know what happened. But they end up murdering 2 women, 3 women. They end up killing 3 women, and they tried to burn the place down. The place isn't there anymore. You wouldn't even never know this building was there. And the fiend the fiend more than likely killed the girls, but the fiend blamed this boy, and he testified against this boy. And this is, wow, this is 20 some years ago that this happened. So he's probably still in prison. but the fiend convinced the cops and stuff that it was the boy that did the murders. Because one of the girls they tried to burn, they put a door over her, and they thought the door would burn her body. And yeah, they burned the place completely down, but it's the bodies were still able. And yeah, that's what made me think of. Make the message business art of massage look very bad. Yes, Lammy, it does. It does. Well, and again, we know what goes on in those. A lot of places will give you the happy ending. One of my favorite movies that showed this massage parlor part was so they're in a massage parlor, but it's open. Now they're in America, but it's an open one. And so when they do the happy endings, they have the boxes over everybody's joint. And so, I mean, it's like this box is over the joint, so you really can't see their hand and what they're doing. So their hand is in the box, but it's a box. And I remember the guy tells a line because they're like talking back and forth. These guys are like these women are working their joint and they're talking back and forth. And then whoever they was talking to left, and he looks at when his friend leaves, he looks at the girl. He says, "If you don't play with the balls, we'll be here all day." So. That part always cracked me up. Free the homie. There you go. Yeah, Jason. So that young boy, and again, he was 14 or 15, 20 years ago. So what is that, 35, 34, 35? Last thing I'd want after massage is a hand job, honestly. Yeah, I mean, I go to where my chiropractor is, and they do it in the days I get both done. I get the acupuncture, then I turn around and get a massage. And yeah, it's not about that. Yeah. So how did the shooting really happen? Was there a front for drugs? Now in my situation, nah. But this, I don't know. It doesn't appear like it. It appears like it's that same agenda that Uncle Imbecile talked about before. Is blaming them for the sickness this took the new normal. That took the new normal. And it could be sex trading, because their initial story was he did it because he had a sex addiction. And you could tell this is how they're making it up as they go, because they didn't want to link him to the stores. So yesterday he had no connection. It's just randomly. This is the cover story. They say he just randomly went in there and he just shot the places up because he had an addiction and he wanted to kill the addiction. Then today was like, well, we have because again, remember, there's films in there and cameras. So today they came back and was like, yes, he was a frequent customer. So he's a frequent customer. So, yeah. So I knew when I got up from my desk, you were going to pop on. Thank you, PJ. I did terrible. I did terrible in my thing, Trill. But I feel good. I feel good. My hands feel great. Slept with that stuff, the Thanos brace, and my hands feel great. It was nice out here. It was 50-some degrees today. Who do you think the next face of the NFL is going to be? It's a good question. I still think Patty Mahomes. They still going to keep Patty Mahomes in there. Russell Wilson seems like Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson's a little older. I don't know if he quite has the appeal that they're looking for. Patty Mahomes does. Remember, Russell Wilson isn't getting a lot of commercials. And I think one thing about Russell Wilson is true is like once Sierra gets enough money, she's going to hit him with child support and then he'll get another starlet, I bet. So that's what I think. Patty Mahomes, he's still fairly young. I think Patty Mahomes is, 25? I think he's slightly younger than my son. My son about to be 26 next month. So he's around there. So I think he'll be the face for a minute. I think. But yeah, I think Atlanta, it's funny that they picked Atlanta. What's interesting is, again, we've had Chinese UN troops in Canada for years. We've had Chinese troops training down in Texas for years. And is this that push? Is this that push? Because I've said this before. I wouldn't be surprised that one day they say that our Navy gets defeated. Our Navy's defeated in the Pacific, and then we just got the Army to try to stop the Chinese from coming in on the West Coast. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull a Man in the High Castle kind of deal. I know what that movie got weird and everything, but fake and say that our army lost or our navy lost and couldn't keep them out, and then let them come in. Because again, remember, the Chinese communism comes from Jewish faith people. It is their political favorite. They prefer communism. It comes from them. Just as I was saying last night, liberalism again comes from the Jewish faith people. And so these are systems that they like. So that seems like that could be an agenda. So they ain't just brothers mugging people. That's what they was trying to say last week. This kind of throws a monkey wrench into that. It shows that Europeans have some type of, or he had some type of animosity. Now he's done winning the Super Bowls. I wouldn't doubt that. 400 million, he's going to be the face, all right. You're looking a little healthier, A, when your skin is a glow that it hasn't had in a while. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was warm. It was warm here today. It was warm. Why you call him Patty and not Patrick? It sounds weird to me and I don't like it. That's what his nickname is. His nickname is Patty. His dad was Pat. So that's what they called him. That's his nickname. Trevor Lawrence might be the next, they don't like the brothers. Yeah, well, Lawrence is going to take a year or two. And look what they did to Burrows. They hurt Burrows on purpose. I would call BS if they say our Navy failed. There you go, Crazy Stars, because we spend more millions than they do on our military. We have more people in the military. So I'm right with you, Crazy Stars. Because I was looking at I read part of what some maneuvers were going to be, and they were saying that even if we stopped them from first capability striking anymore, they were saying if we went in and did that, like knocked out some of their machinery to produce war, they could tool up quicker than we could tool up. That was the thing that this article basically said. It's like, yeah, we can do a lot of damage to them, but they could bounce back quicker. And then already they're saying those billion-dollar planes are antiquated. The technology is getting old, and Americans you got to have smart people to be able to fly them planes. And so after taking this activation, people, how smart are people going to be able to be? Oh, Jay, thank you for joining me. Thank you for the kind words. So yeah. We'll see, because there's something underneath. Again, when you see the three names, it's a psyop. That's the only time you see three names is some kind of psyop going. And he has the three names going. So, but it's interesting. Deshaun Watson, the 3 women lawsuits he has, they set up on the brother. I think the timing is to discourage the trade, to keep him in place. Again, he signed the contract. That shows you it's all theater. You sitting there months ago crying because they gave you 100 and some million, 100 and some guaranteed. And again, guaranteed money mean they put it in the bank right now. You signed the contract, they put all your money in the bank, all the guaranteed money in the bank. Now, there's some kind of he say he went to jail or something. Yeah, a lot of that money is gonna get slashed. They'll start withdrawing it back. So we'll see. I just think the timing of it. Someone I saw said they said Sleepy Joe was turning us over to China. That was what his vice president said during the debates with all of the vice president. She said, Joe, you'll just work for China. That's what she said. She said that to him. Remember, look that up. She said that to him. So his son got into all that mischief, and he is forgotten. Joe wins, son's forgotten, because he could pardon the son. I wonder if you can be pardoned in the middle of a trial. It's like they take you get convicted, or they take you to trial, and then Joe can just pardon, like they did Nixon. They pardoned Tricky Dick. A 10-year contract with ESPN and Disney. Yeah, I saw that as well. And the numbers are staggering. I saw that as well. I caught the runner on the bottom. I saw that. So that's the thing. And remember, the NBA's money just went up as well. So this means the money's going up. So that's why you're seeing these contracts, because they anticipated the money going up. I wonder if the salary cap is going to go up, though. That's what's going to be. That's what Mark said he already did. So I wonder if the salary cap money is going to go up as well. So we'll see. Minnesota got a good win today. Oh, they played. They played. Oh, I would have rather watched that. Oh, I didn't even. Wow, that game. You know what? I don't think that game was on. Maybe it was. I didn't turn a lot of channels. I've been reading, so and then been on the phone. So maybe that's why I missed it. Because I was trying to see. I knew TBS wasn't going to have any games, but I didn't know the Timberwolves. Who did they play? They beat Phoenix. Oh, okay. Wow, good win. Good win for them. Good win. They all this talk is about D'Angelo, they're about to get rid of him, but we'll see. Or Russell, they're about to get rid of Russell, but we'll see. I thought the Edwards and Towns both dropped 40. Oh, that had to be a good game. Wow, I suck missing that game. And the Edwards had 42. Oh, that's the number. He had 42. Wow. Oh, I would have way rather watch that game. I was looking earlier and did not see it because I get their games on Fox Sport North. And so I saw that Meacham's was on earlier and then didn't look back. I missed a good game, especially with Edwards taking off like that. Because him and Towns, they don't really he's still learning how to play with Towns. It was like they had a play where Lyman saved the ball from out of bounds. He threw it behind his back and he gave it to Edwards. And then Edwards was closed on. Lyman's was open and he should have passed it back. And I saw the coach telling that. But a lot of times too, he won't give it to Cat and then just cut through or do an action after giving it to Cat. So they don't really work together. Cat is kind of a center ball dominant. And Edwards doesn't really work with him as much as Russell worked with him. So it's interesting. And then we got all this talk about Cat. I think they want to get out under his contract because Taylor wants to sell the team. He just didn't want to sell the team to Kevin Garnett, but he wants to sell the team. So he's been trying to get out. He had to cough up some money to fix the Target Center. So the people did and he didn't. Should be bad. There's no way Minnesota should be bad as they are. I agree, but like in January and February, they was having like weeks of having the leads in the games and then just losing the games at the end. I mean, it was like so ridiculous how they would just blow games at the end. So, and that's one reason why they got rid of the coach too. After his daddy was sacrificed, they still got rid of him, which surprised me. I didn't think they would get rid of that cat just because of the way the dad went down, but they did. They got rid of him. But I think that team is going to be up for sale. If somebody came in serious, and it showed me that Garnett probably didn't have the money. He didn't have enough backers with the money. So, and I learned something today about Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter owns this $12 to $20 million house in Connecticut. And come to find out, his family had owned that house. Now, I know where the house he grew up in. I know the house he grew up in Kalamazoo. It's right behind Kalamazoo Central. I mean, his backyard was the fence of the high school. He lived that close to the high school. So that wasn't no $20 million house. So I don't know. It must have been his mom's family that owned this property because it was like it had been in the family when he was a boy and he spent summers there. I'm like, whoa, didn't know his family had that kind of money. Yeah, Jeter, you hear the thing about his pimping. So Jeter would send the chicks home with a baseball package. He would give them, a little basket on their way home. When they did the Walk of Shame, he would give the Walk of Shame with a basket and autographed baseballs and shit. And I didn't even know he had children. He has some young children now too. And he reminds me of Joe Namath. Didn't get married all them peak years when he was young. Then got married, had 2 daughters, and the wife left him, and he turned into a drunk. But the wife liked the publicity. It's like Muhammad Ali when he married Portia. Same kind of deal. She loved being married to the champion, but once he wasn't champion, pussy slayer in business and always been a consummate pro, though better than most attractive woman. Yeah, basket was signed, balls, bats, tickets to future games, and he would take them out afterwards. And I had a friend. She used to work. One of my friend's wife. She used to work at Justin's in Harlem, I think. And she was saying that they was giving a little party there. And when he was dating Mariah Carey, and he was saying that she was telling me how Mariah was just kind of sloppy drunk, and Derek just was kind of smooth about it. He was just smooth, handled her, and just kind of sat back. And Derek's a decent sized cat. I mean, Derek played high school basketball. He's not a little cat. This cat's what, 6'3", 6'4"? He's not a little dude. Had a nice jump shot. That's why I was surprised when he ended up getting USA Player of the Year in baseball, because high school baseball, nobody watches high school baseball but families. I mean, I know the last few years some of the better teams get on TV, but I don't know if any of his high school baseball games was on TV. I just knew he played ball, so I figured he was going to play ball somewhere. But yeah, and what's ironic is where and I mentioned this the other night, when he went to Greensboro, he played for the Greensboro Hornets, which is a farm team of the Yankees. And that stadium is the same stadium I played my first 2 years of college football, War Memorial Stadium. We played in that stadium where we had to walk 2 blocks to the stadium before they built the Aggie Stadium. So the LeBron James virus has now infected Boston. 6'3" and 195. Yeah. He's a nice sized cat. He was that size in high school. He was a nice sized cat. Because we had a Lloyd Norris was always our rivalry school. And so the assistant coach, or one of them, saw me, and I had just graduated from the police academy, so I know I had a pistol up in there. You can't even take pistols to high school games anymore, but I'm fresh out of the academy. I definitely carried a pistol all the time. And I remember they saw me. One of the coaches saw me, and he's like, "Come speak to the team." I'm like, "Speak to the team." And I was buzzed and shit. And I'm like, "Okay." So I went in there and got to meet all of them. But this is the funny thing that I could have done is I have my high school jerseys. One of the coaches, we used to have alumni games, and one of the coaches was like, "Y'all can have this stuff." And so he wore 13. I have my number 51, but he wore 13. I went right across that jersey. I could have easily taken that jersey too. And so I didn't take it, because there's pictures of him. In one of his books, there's a picture of him wearing that Kalamazoo Central number 13 jersey. And I could have taken it. And I didn't. I didn't. So nice guy. I've met him several times. Nice guy. As I mentioned, I watched him play when he was in Greensboro. I watched him play a few games, got to talk to him. So yeah, nice guy. Played hard. Made what's his name? Alex, put Alex on third base because he wasn't giving up that shortstop. He had some lucky breaks. The little boy hit the dude's mitt. Remember, the home run went out and the boy caught the ball and reached over and they called it a home run. Remember that play? But his signature play was where he jumped up in the air. Or no, he flicked the ball back at home plate. Remember, he flicked the ball back. And he won, 4 titles, something like that in his first couple years. So baseball, played 20 years. And I think he tore his Achilles as well. Came back, played a season or two. Now just a good businessman. He wants to sell that ugly thing they put in the Marlins outfield. Remember that thing? He wanted to get rid of that. But that's the beautiful thing we're seeing. We're seeing players being able to go manage. And, that was kind of unheard of for a long time. Are you live right now? Yes, Jay Santos, I am. I am all the way live. Oh, yeah, this is not a recording. So good brother. So I mentioned not a lot happening. I remember when the boy grabbed the ball, I was in third grade. Wow, I was a man. Rocky said he was in third grade. I was a man then. And, I was always a Yankee fan going back to Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle was one of my first probably favorite players. And that was like at the end of his career. But I always loved Mickey Mantle. So I've always been a Yankee fan. I probably have a Yankee hat somewhere buried in there. I just buy hats now because I just like hats. But always been a Yankee fan. It's like when they lost to Arizona, that was fixed. It was like the pitcher, what was his name? Everybody wears, he wore the 42 shaming number, but he didn't get hits. And all of a sudden, Arizona's getting hits, but they did Arizona the same way they did the Marlins. They did the Marlins. They gave the Marlins a World Series when they was early, just in the league, not too many years. So they gave that team. You see, neither team's been back since, but that's how they do it. In the 90s, yeah, I think it was the 90s. I think it was like 98 maybe. 98. Yep, 98 maybe. Oh, okay. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, I think the first time they won it was with him was his first couple of years, so like 93, 94, somewhere in there. They won it. But he won 3 or 4. Why his first 10 years, I think he won at least 2 to 3. Yeah, might have to look that up. I forget. But he won those. And so he was, it was a perfect situation for him. Perfect situation. They had the right size, right strength, range left and right, quick. Being that size, quick enough to have range left. Again, he wasn't shit to get a pop fly into left field that he could track down. He had to remember he dove in the stands one time and did a pop fly. A unique breed. So, very, very talented young man. Very talented young man. And a nice young man. He has a foundation that's active in Kalamazoo. He still puts on clinics and stuff because he had signed to go to Michigan. He had signed to go to University of Michigan because I think old Tiger named Bob Decker, I think, was the old Tiger that ended up getting the Michigan job back then. And so he had signed to go to Michigan. And then when the Yankees came with that money, he went to the Yankees. Bulls, Yankees, and Cowboy had the 90s. Had the 90s lit. Yeah, Bulls, Yankees. Yeah, they did. What did Cowboys win? 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 5, something like that. And I remember one year the Cowboys won, and it's the Super Bowl, and I had a game earlier. So I had a pickup game earlier. I go to block this dude's shot. I think, and I still don't know who cut my legs out. It's this guy that's passed away now that I try to block his shot, but somebody took my legs out, and I just remember landed, and I was like, oh. And I should have just put my forearm around, but I caught myself and I broke my hand. And I remember just not wanting, my wife back then was like, go to the hospital. I wouldn't go to the hospital. I was trying to watch the game. And my hand was like, it was broke to the point where the nerves was just like, it's just like, look at your hand. You can't even control it. So I ended up missing most of that game. I ate my plate though, but yep. Want to give you a super chat, that option not available. I just have a Cash App, so it should be in the description. But thank you for that, because my Cash App is $8WindEagle. So, but thank you though for the idea. I appreciate it. So yeah, the 90s was a great time for sports for sure, and it shows the leagues like, they like dominant teams. Remember, the NBA was carried from the Celtics. The Celtics won 8 straight years in a row. And so it's nothing for them to want that. They want dynasties. Again, the Packers lost to my Eagles in 60, and then the Packers won all the way to 67. The only championship they didn't win would have been, they didn't win 65 Bears, and then Jim Brown, Cleveland, I think, won the championship in 64. But the Packers won, I was thinking Bart Starr won 2 Super Bowls, but I think he won 3 or 4 NFC championships. So that is so that they've always loved that. And that's carried the leagues. Because you can look back into the 30s. You had the Redskins back in early NFL. Trying to think, the Redskins in Washington with Sammy Ball. These teams was trading it back and forth. One year, the Redskins got beat 73-0. I think the Bears beat them, something like that, 73-0. So they've always liked dynasties. Dynasties sell. Everyone knows that Michael Jordan got suspended those 2 years. So, dynasties sell. And if it wouldn't have been those 2 years, they probably would have won. That's why it's funny. Michael Jordan was talking about, well, we wanted the team to come back for another year. Yeah, okay, another year. Y'all was older and y'all was losing it. but the 2 years he was suspended, or the year and a half he was suspended. NBA might be the only league that individuals instead of teams. Well, but that was switched by Stern. Stern pushed that. Because, as I've said many nights before, NFL, the NBA was not even on national television. Their championship games was on tape delay. So they wasn't even prime time. They was tape delay. So the regular game came on, and I was in college, so we had to wait till 11 o'clock. So you saw the news, like the news of the channel the game came on wouldn't tell you the score. But if you watch the other channels or listen to the radio, they told you the score. But to see it, the game came on like 11 o'clock, tape delayed. And this is East Coast time, 11 o'clock. So it came on the East Coast time, 11 o'clock. So that is because that's what happened is when the leagues merged, they for some reason got rid of a lot of the European players. They discouraged them, which doesn't make sense because if you look 75, 74, 75, and 76, the teams were a mixture of players. It wasn't dominant like that. And then when the leagues merged, you had the Knicks just all brothers. I mean, and it just seems like there was a purge of the European guys for some reason. And I've kind of looked that up because, again, you look at just look at the 10 years of the ABA and look at the teams. Go on Pinterest and just look up the ABA team. It was always a mixture of Americans on the teams. It wasn't dominant one way or the other. It was always a mixture. And then the leagues merge, you see that disappear. So it's like, why weren't these guys getting the opportunity? Can't say that the skill now the ABA did bring a lot more brothers, but again, the skill didn't change that much. Again, Louis Dampier could have played in the NBA. Roger Brown, after he sued the NBA through Connie Hawkins' kind of suit and won, Roger Brown retired as well. So Houston won them too when MJ left, yeah. But that was Stern. Getting back to my point, Stern, again, he saw that he had to have the faces. And so that's why he did the magic thing because remember, Dr. J did not win it, and he only won one NBA title. He lost to Magic without Jabbar. Without Jabbar, he lost to that team. So very sketchy. And then them other years, they was let Magic and them play a trap zone, which is supposed to be illegal. And Billy Cunningham kept arguing, you are letting them play this zone, which is supposed to be illegal, but they let them do it. And that beat Dr. J and them too. And Dr. J only won in 83 with the 4-5-4. Remember Moses Malone? Remember the song? My favorite number, the number's 4-5-4. Pieces of a Dream, maybe? Pieces of a Dream. 4-5-4. Is Roger Brown from Virginia? No, Roger Brown was from New York. And just a little thing about Connie Hawkins, see, they had a gambling scandal that hit New York. There was a bad one in 50, and a bunch of colleges got caught up. And so another one started hitting in 60, 61. And Connie Hawkins was, he grew up in Bedford-Stuyvesant, up in some concrete projects. It was 7 or 8 of them probably living in a 2-bedroom. So this cat they were so poor where he ended up getting a sleep disease because that was the way he dealt with being hungry, was sleeping all the time. So anyway, this poor guy goes up, he grows to be 6'8". Jack Moranis, I think was his name, ex-NBA player, was also he was a numbers runner, but he was also he was a hooper. And he had money, and he would take Connie to these different tournaments and such. And Roger Brown and Connie got caught into it. I'm trying to think of can't think of the guy that went to North Carolina that coached Denver. And he got kicked out of North Carolina for not reporting that somebody came up to him and asked him to Doug Moe. Doug Moe was banned from the NBA for not reporting it. He was kicked out of college because he didn't tell his coach. Somebody came and bribed him and wanted him to fix games. But the real reason they kicked all 3 of them out was the league had a thing back then where, like with Will Chamberlain had to go to Philadelphia. It's funny, them same rules didn't apply to Bill Russell because Bill Russell's from San Francisco. Bill Russell played basketball in San Francisco. But New York would have got Roger Brown, Doug Moe, and Connie Hawkins to go with Willis Reed and Walt Frazier, and that is why they banned them, to stop that super team. which would have threatened the Celtics. And I'll say this. I know it's probably a little boring, but I'm gonna say this. If Connie Hawkins would have won in the NBA in 64, you'd have saw Dr. J's kind of basketball in 64 instead of 72, 70, 72. You'd have saw that style of basketball come in the NBA years before, because that was, again, the spread eagle dunk was first reported by Lou Carnesecca, the ex-St. John's coach, that Connie did it from the free throw line. He did a spread eagle dunk from the free throw line. Michael Jordan copies Connie Hawkins' move because everyone knows Connie Hawkins invented the spread eagle dunk. I think he has a sports bar in Portsmouth. No, he died. Roger Brown died a long time ago. This cat smoked cigarettes and hooped, but he died a long time ago. No, he was from New York. Roger Brown died. He died. I mean, these cats Connie Hawkins died. I don't know if Doug Moe is still alive, but those cats is all, man, my mother's age, 78, 79. Connie Hawkins died in the mid-70s, when he was in his mid-70s. David Thompson, and David Thompson is not that much taller than me. David Thompson, like you saying, Jeter 6'3", David Thompson 6'3", maybe 6'4", but had a 40-inch vertical. I have a Connie Hawkins, Mitchell, and Ness jersey. Do you have the Pipers jersey? I got to order another one because I just took one. I ordered one, and it's like a 4X or 3X. So I was just going to put that one in the frame. I got to order another one, though. But I have one, too. I have the Pittsburgh Pipers. I've got the light colored one. They wore, you see, because this says Pipers, but the dark colored jersey said Pittsburgh. But I had one that says Pipers with two basketballs holding the basketballs. So, more like 50. More like 50, Jay said. No, I think it was only 40, but he could get up. And, if you look at the spirituality and how things are handed off, David Thompson's abilities was definitely handed off to Jordan. I mean, Jordan saw, just like I saw, like if you looked at Worthy's game, Worthy, Mark Aguirre had more of a Connie Hawkins, Dr. J style game. But those two cats was old enough to know about Connie Hawkins and waving the ball and yoking on people. So when you watch both of them when they were younger players, I would say they were more influenced by Connie Hawkins and Dr. J too, but they were both my age and knew about Connie Hawkins, or they should have known, because that style of ball of bringing the ball out here and palming it and then yoking on somebody. Again, Connie Hawkins was both that. I know it's attributed to Dr. J, but it was Connie Hawkins' game. Big hands and just to float and punch on a person. What you can watch is the 7-game series of the ABA, the first year of the ABA. Who did the Pipers? I can't remember who they played. It might have been Indiana, but that is still, you can still catch that if you want to see him play. And remember, when you see him play that 7th game, he's playing on a tore-up knee. He had tore up his knee. So really, when he went in the NBA, he had already tore up his knee. In his book, he says he tore up his knee during practice. But looking at his story, he had got hurt before. And it's funny, he didn't say that in the book. He says in the book he gets hurt like the season after the Suns. But look at his rookie year and look at his stats. And he's one dude that's in the NBA because of his street ball and because of what they did to him. They banned him illegally. And he sued the NBA and won. Oh, I had a picture of Dr. J's hand, and Dr. J's hands was like 2 of my hands, but Connie Hawkins' hands was bigger than Dr. J's. And I used to have a picture in a book of Dr. J's hands, and he had some hands like this. Connie Hawkins' hands, and Connie Hawkins was taller. Dr. J was 6'5", 6'6". Dr. J is taller than Michael Jordan. There's a picture of them standing side by side. He's taller than Michael Jordan. It could be the shoes. Oh, you have the Suns jersey. Okay, I need to get one of those too. Did you see what they did? They voted Connie the most famous athlete out of Phoenix, which was kind of cool. They had a big poster of him. So he got it over Barkley. They voted Connie Hawkins over Barkley. And, in his later years, they end up Phoenix and Colangelo. Because look at Connie Hawkins' rookie year. He took that expansion team, and he took them to, I think they won the first or second round. and they end up the Lakers end up winning the championship that year. That's who they fell to. But Connie was putting it on the league. I don't know if he made Rookie of the Year, but he made the All-Star team. I think he made the All-Star team 3 or 4 years straight. So, Jay had, yeah, he did. I'm only 6 foot. At my tallest, I was probably, and I got measured. I'm still 6 foot. I was barefooted. So, because I wore my Timbs in there. So I'm 6'3" with my Timbs. But I was probably 6'1" at my tallest before I started shrinking. So, because, when you get in your 50s, you start shrinking. But yeah, and I had a 47-inch vertical jump. That's right. 47 inches off the ground. Straight up. Was Lenny Wilkens a bum? Nah, Lenny Wilkens was nice. Lenny Wilkens was left-handed. He was one of the few player coaches too. First it was Bill Russell and then Lenny Wilkens, I think with Seattle. A lot of people got mad because they got rid of Lenny Wilkens and wouldn't give Lenny Wilkens more money when he asked for more money with Atlanta, and they gave Pistol Pete all that money. But Pistol Pete was going to bring in fans. But they got mad. Lou Hudson always hated Pistol Pete. He hated playing with him. But nah, Lenny Wilkens was tight. Driving to the hole, dishing. This cat was player coach, and player coach, where he could still play, but active on defense, stealing the ball. Good player. I watched him play as a young man, but yeah, good player. He was a good player. You got 25 people here. None of them have shit to say. It's all right. You know me. I'll keep it going. Somebody keeps texting me on one of these damn phones. Oh, okay. My buddy. Okay. Thank you for that. Wow. Okay. I tell you, I don't even use this Apple phone. I use it for calling. I ain't putting all that bullshit on here. When I got all the bullshit on the Galaxy, why put it on the other phone? Why have bullshit on 2 phones? So that'd be my calling phone. But yeah, Lenny Wilkens, look him up. Really good player, hustled a lot, played D. He made the All-Star team almost every year. Back when Wilt and Bill Russell was dominating, he was in there. It was like I was talking to my friend about high school basketball. Like if you watch high school basketball up to, Jabbar's freshman year would have been 68. 67 was probably his freshman year. Because what did he win it? 68, 69, 70? No, he won it 67, 68, 69. So, yeah. So, they banned the dunk so his freshman year would have been 66. So, they banned the dunk his sophomore year in 67. And it was to stop him. And that's when they developed the sky hook. But up to then, if you would have watched high school basketball up to then, they was dunking. Like, watch the game with North Texas State plays Kentucky. The first play of the game, dude yokes it on them. And so you watch them old games up till 67, they was dunking. So like I was talking about Spencer Haywood playing in high school, and he was 6'8" with Ralph Simpson. He's dunking in high school. Let's get deep. What percentage of shots per game are made and how many are missed via basket manipulation? This is the thing. It's situational. So it's not the percentage of people making it, it's the situation that they make it. So that's the key that you have to understand is I'm never saying that a player can't make shots, but what I'm saying is there are times in key moments of the games, they help them make shots. Like you could watch the college, and maybe I'll do one of the games live tomorrow because you can see when the system is activated. And so say they want Curry to score a certain number of points. So you're going to see where the shots he makes, but you're going to also see shots where they don't take a chance and they manipulate them. And so if you say a percentage of shots, I would say 1 out of 4. It's probably manipulated. It's probably that high, 1 out of 4 shots. Because, and that's the video I need to make is watch sometimes how bad three-point shooters are. And that's why the ESPN did a thing on are people is 3-point shots taking away from the game. because again, I think the work I do about manipulation and others spread about manipulation, it's starting to catch attention. And so that's why they're saying, do they need to limit the 3-point shots? That's what ESPN was saying. Because again, it's not basketball anymore. It's not basketball. Because nobody, those 2 MVP years when Curry was MVP, no one was guarding him. He was dribbling over half court and just shooting with no one guarding him. You would think that someone would think, well, you better pressing. No pressing him or nothing. Just letting him shoot from half court. So I would say 1 out of 4. If you want to give a number, I would say 1 out of 4. But again, look how they start off. If they start off, hit their first or second shot, they might hold the manipulation system off. But if it's a critical to keep that score where they need it, and then remember, you got to consider the in-game betting as well. That probably has even a greater awareness of the manipulation as well, is the in-game betting. Key plays can change the entire momentum of a game. Yes, Haitian, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And so that is where I see more of the manipulation, is those key plays is when they do it. But as far as shots, I would say 1 in 4, 1 in 5 is probably manipulated. I mean, the worst one the other day was, or last week, was Ohio State, when that 32 went in the dunk and they just pushed the dunk right off. And he was looking at his hand, he was looking at the rim. It's like he didn't even understand what pushed that dunk out, because he had it in there and it just and pushed it right out, because they can do dunks, push dunks out. They definitely can push layups out. You see it do that. So ESPN commenters have been saying limit corner threes, limit the number that can be taken per half. Yeah, because it to me, they want to eliminate. I think the league likes that, because I think the league wants to eliminate the bigger guys. So to take it away from being a big guy league like it was. Used to be you had to have big men. Look at all the big men that ain't in the leagues anymore. What was his name? Detroit had the 2 big dudes. The 1 big dude is out of the league. The Cleveland Cavaliers, what did the Lakers about to pick up that other big Drummond, I think is his name. Lakers about to pick up Drummond. I mean, they're phasing out the bigger players. They're phasing out the 7-footers. So the 7-footers can't really deal inside. That's why it's funny with Jabbar or I think that's his name for Phoenix, or excuse me, Utah. That's what I find very odd, because they like him. First quarter, second quarters total. Yes, first quarters and second quarters. They're not going to let the players determine billions of dollars. Absolutely. That's what my father said when I was a boy. My father's like, they're not going to let niggas decide who wins the fight. That's how my father put it. He's like, they ain't going to decide to let niggas who going to win the fight. So, this is my father from watching boxing his whole life. And then he knew, my father knew my stepfather's best friend too. And we all watched the fights and stuff. But that's the bottom line, is they're not going to let the money thing go. That they've always controlled sports. It's always been controlled. I want to get this book, and I got to look this cat up on here on YouTube. But he wrote a book about the gamblers who started the NFL. The Rooneys, the Myras, all these was gamblers, and they were allowed to run these teams. Again, the pay-in for the original NFL when Jim Thorpe was president with Hallis was $100. That's all they had to pay in. Can you imagine that? Like a team like the Cardinals, who started off in Chicago, only had to pay $100, and now this thing is worth $1 billion. So yeah, they don't let the players determine that. And with this system, and I'll tell you, one thing to notice too is there are different screws up there now. Now, I don't know, maybe in the past I missed them, but I think there's 4 different screws that weren't there in the last couple seasons. And now maybe they were painted in the past. I don't think so. But there's 4 screws. There's screws. I think I saw tonight was 2 screws on the outside of the glass and then 2 on the inside that I've never noticed before. And I'll have to relook on the one I shot a week ago, because that's new to me. So they've even changed that little bit of support, because you're talking about, the whole basket system. And I'm talking about the collapsible part is about this big now. Remember, the old rims went in like this. So there was nothing there. The rim bolted into the backboard. That's how the old rims were. And then the new supports, when they first came, it was only this much. Now you got this much in front and you got almost that much in back. And so you're talking about a thing about this much, and the rim's on over that. So you got this much and the rim. So you're talking about something about that big. And I know me sitting on the screen, but you're talking about something that's almost 1.5 feet when it used to be right into the backboard. And the old ones was only about 7 or 8 inches. Now you got something almost 1.5 feet that's on both sides. So you got the collapsible part on this side, but there's also another support part on the back that's all part of the collapsible. So that is probably, yeah, Gobert. Thank you. Gobert. Yep. Hey, Barbara. Nice to hear from you. Thank you for joining me. But so but to answer your question, Mark, I really think that is the percentage. I think 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 is probably manipulated. And maybe even the numbers are greater than that, because again, depending on who the shooter is and how often this shooter shoots, because you have to look at some shooters, because it is probably even a point where the number of shots are assigned. I wouldn't be surprised. The number of shots. It's like we know Curry gonna get up 20 plus shots, but we have other people that might only get 5 to 10 shots, if that. So I wouldn't be surprised. Hope you're well. Yeah. So that's what I think. It depends on the number, and that's something we have to put in there too. Is who do they help? Because some players don't get 20 shots a game. Some players don't. So if we talk about a person only going to get 7 or 8, I bet 4 out of them 7 or 8, depending on the situation, would be helped. Because if it's a critical or just even keeping that team close, they'll manipulate a shot because they need the score to be a certain thing. And I wouldn't even be surprised now. They go over scripts before the games. Pretty sure they go over scripts, like the Globetrotters. I mean, Globetrotters have a script. If you watch them, it's the same script they did since I saw them first when Meadowlark was playing and Curly Neal, which I later got to know when Curly Neal played. Curly Neal was from Greensboro, went to Johnson C. Smith. And so it's the same thing, basically. The only difference is they never, back in the old Globetrotters, they never really played real basketball. Now they kind of rotate. So they'll play like 2 or 3 minutes of real basketball, and then they'll do tricks for 2 or 3 minutes. Back then, they didn't really do that. They kind of did tricks the whole time. Now, they did have some up and down, but almost every up and down, every third say up and down was tricks. So, and that's how they changed it. Oh, wow. Yeah, Connie Hawkins wore 42. Matter of fact, I was looking at the dude who signed the first NFL contract named Charlie Tippett. Charlie Tippett. No, I don't want to get it mixed up with the Giants quarterback. So I think it's Charlie Tippett. Tippett, I think, was his name. But he was one of the first brothers to sign an NFL contract. Never really had heard of this brother. And then they showed a picture of his first team, and you know what number he's wearing. He's wearing 24. So if you don't think that's a code, you look back in sports and you can see the code there. I know they erased it, but like I found a South American team from the 30s or maybe early 40s, but I want to say before World War II. And the team is called the 24s. Everybody has 24 in their jersey. That has been a code they've used for a long time. Here's a blurb for you today's Timberwolves games. Here's a blurb from you from today's Timberwolves game. Anthony Edwards hit a 15 out of 31. Whoa, he took 31 shots. 4 for 13 3-pointers, 8 from free throws. He took 13 free throws for a career high 42. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 1 turnover in 38 minutes. Wow, he took 31 shots. Woo, that's a lot of shots. Towns must have took a lot of shots too. But yeah, that 42, that's the mark. You see that, and you know it was set up for that. It was set up for that. And 4 out of 13, and that's not his game. He took 13 threes. That is not his game at all. Wow, that he took that many threes. That's not his game. But it'll save your career because you ain't going to be able to dunk over people your whole career. Wow. And I can't believe I missed a good game and watched, because the Michigan State game was okay. and I suck. I was 0 for 4 today. Let's see how I end up tomorrow. We'll see, because the teams that play tonight play again Saturday. It's a quick turnaround. These games are quick. Because remember, when they have the semifinal, it's going to be Saturday. Both semifinal games are Saturday, and they'll play Monday night, the championship. Wow, Mark. And I missed the game. I feel disappointed in myself that I missed it. Didn't really, was talking to my friend, got to talking to her and wasn't paying attention. Oh, there we go. There we go. I'm glad to hear that, Barbara, that all is well as you with you. Yeah, it was nice up here today, though. It was 50-some degrees, and it's interesting. They're closing the schools down next weekend. Next week they go to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, go to school, and then Thursday, Friday, they're distance learning. So something to do with this COVID. But then the following week is spring break, I think. The following week is spring break. So it's going to be interesting the way they did it. So it's going to be distant learning. And then my son, he doesn't go today or tomorrow because of COVID. So, high schooler, he didn't go today. So, oh, like a Rocket Wyatt for Michigan State. You like Rocket Wyatt for Michigan State? Which one was he? Jason? Rocket Wyatt. Which dude was he? You got to remind me. The name doesn't sound. Vikings, luckily to get Dalvin Tomlinson. He's really good. We got Kyle Rudolph in return. Oh, that's who they traded Rudolph for? And Rudolph wasn't bad. They just wasn't going to pay him. That was the thing with Rudolph. They wasn't going to pay Rudolph. Even though he had a decent year, they were not going to pay him, which I don't understand. But Dalvin Tomlinson. Rocket Wyatt. Tell me. Oh, number two for Michigan State. Yeah, I guess I didn't pay enough attention to him. Because this team, like the one senior that got hurt, I think he wore number 1. That dude been playing. This was his 5th year. He got a injury. You can get an injury red shirt. So he got an injury red shirt. Because actually you can play college ball. Well, you technically can't play, but there are some instances where dudes be 6 years in. 6 years in. You can get that red shirt. I think you can almost get an injury red shirt. And so some cats be in there for 6 years. So number two. I still doesn't ring a bell. But I guess I didn't pay enough of them. I heard they are planning to vax the high school students 21, fall of 21. I wonder under what laws? Because right now the paperwork is still very thin if you want to educate at home. And so the thing is if they do a thing and won't let people work. But that on itself, again, people can work from home. So they want to box people into a corner with that, though. They definitely want to force people. Listening to Undisputed, and Skip was talking about Sosa, talking about how LeBron is 36 years old in his 18th season. NBA dog years is like 56 years old. LeBron going to be 5 and 6 in season 18. LeBron, they already showed you in the commercial that LeBron is going to play with his son. Now, in the commercial, they showed his son going to Duke for a year and then playing with LeBron. But LeBron's going to play with Bronny. He's going to play with him. If you can't make the NBA, would you tell someone to go overseas and start your basketball career? Yeah, definitely. I mean, not just overseas. Again, the top league is China now. That's the top league is going into China. I know the last couple of years has been interrupted, but that was the top league they were making. Like the NBA players wanted to stay active. And again, it's going to change because they changed the rules in the D League. Now older players can play in the D League. But that's an option as well, to play in the D League. Like I mentioned, that dude who was with the Lakers, he played 10 years in the D League and only got a few call-ups. He got to play in one game with the Lakers a season ago. But you can play in Mexico, you can play in South America. So it's you can play all over. I had a partner that played in Philippines. And matter of fact, he loved it over there so much he let his visa. his visa go away, and so he was kind of stateless, and he stayed over there 3 or 4 years before he came back. So it's a lot of different places to play now. Football. That's why I loved NFL Europe, because it gave football players another chance. Like now, the XFL is talking about, well, if they rescind the border thing, but the CFL in Canada has only got 6 or 8 teams. So as a product, they just playing each other over and over again. So they wanted to add that. They did that. The USFL's. How did they do that? They brought a team in. When the USFL got canceled, I want to say they took the Baltimore team and it played in Canada. The Baltimore team played in the CFL. I think, if I remember right. So it's a lot of opportunities. It's a lot of. Matter of fact, I know 2 guys that are playing pro football in Poland. So absolutely. Like my friend I was telling you that's from Detroit that I played. We played college football together. His sister played it her whole career, like all over the world. So Russia has another top league, and so it's a lot of places you can go play. I think Curry is going to join LeBron next year. I don't know if the salary cap would allow that, but we'll see. Biden said he wants teachers to take it the first so the students can return to the school buildings. The students, most of the country, that's why they're talking about when can they return to school. Most of the country's students are back in school. Now, I know my best friend's children don't start till April, but my daughter she's going on her 2nd month, I think. So the high schoolers been in school for at least a month to 6 weeks. So here they've been in school. I think North Dakota, South Dakota, they in school. I think Wisconsin, they in school. Iowa, I think they're in school. I'd have to check with some people, but I think it's the same as like around here. So yeah, they're in school around here. So, but did you see how they was breaking the ELF down today? Was that the day they was breaking the ELF down? ELF trying to do all that double talk, and then they kept hitting him with where's the facts at, Fauci? Where's the facts? Where's the science now? August 21 is the new school year. Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, okay. Okay, next summer. Okay, this summer going into the fall. I see. LaMelo came down to Australia and played in our league. Right, so he did. But he didn't produce anywhere near the amount of numbers and stats he's coming up now in the NBA. He was younger, and I bet they were somewhat holding him back for fear of injury. And I know he had got injured down there for a period, and they kept him out too. That would be my guess, is they was kind of just letting him polish his game here and there. And because, again, he had a lot of light on him. And you know how players get jealous and want to pile into you. But so I think that's kind of why they held him back down there too. But remember, they kicked him out of California high schools for YouTube money, I think. They kicked him out of California high school. So that's when they went over to wherever they played, Bosnia or whatever they went. It had to be rotten over there. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for the cash app. That is very kind. Thank you very much for the cash app. I appreciate it. Thank you. The corona is going to end fast as when they talked about Ebola a few years ago. Well, you know, that's what Uncle Imbecile said. Uncle Imbecile said it's going to disappear like it was never here. That's what he said. And then again, the demos pushed it. And you can't say they didn't benefit. They benefited off it. So that's how they took this. They panicked everybody again. Like Michigan is still, like my father and my stepmother say they still are quarantined. It's like they don't go see anybody. I imagine they go to the store, but again, you ain't even got to go to the stores anymore. They'll bring the food to you. So, but that's what she told me. She was like, they're still quarantined in Michigan. So Michigan has it a lot tougher. But luckily, people are getting on Big Gretch. They're getting on Como for the policies they did of infecting vulnerable people and then trying to hide. You know, they're going to have to pay for that. I mean, I don't know how your conscience can live with that you knew that you infected people. But the people that concoct this whole thing to make money. I mean, there's never been a bigger distribution of money ever. The rich, how do the rich get so rich? It's like now they want to give us this free, but it ain't like these companies didn't get paid by the government to come up with it. They didn't get paid billions. And this is what's so wrong about this system. So a lot of people did get that money saying they had small businesses and they bought some shit. They splurged the money. But they going after little people that got maybe 100,000, couple 100,000. They bought a boat and a car. They ain't going after these people they gave multi-millions. So when you're talking about multi-millions, there's a lot of way to scramble that money, to clean the money, launder the money. But then you see how look who they going after. They going after thousandaires, 100,000aires. That's who they going after, 100,000aires, like they're doing something. It's hypocritical. Stimulus checks, lots of folks still waiting. That'd be me. Yeah, I guess they were saying that some went out Wednesday. So he played for a city that's about 45 minutes away from where I am. Oh, okay. Yeah. But heck, it was before all this popped off. We had a semi-pro basketball team too, so that it's a lot more opportunities. Again, what you have to understand is they made people think like if you played softball, you played winter basketball, you played flag football, that's all semi-pro. If you pay the refs and you have to pay for the courts, the fields, that's if you look up what's called professional. That's all professional. So they want to take that away from people. Again, it used to be competitive businesses. Remember the Firestone commercial a few years ago? You were seeing a dude wear a Goodrich jersey and other dude wear Firestone. Those leagues started in the 30s before the NFL or NBA started. That's what it used to be. It used to be you worked for your company. If you worked where you worked and you was a good hooper, they gave you a job and you played in a professional league. I mean, look up Will Chamberlain. They're talking about Will Chamberlain was playing pro ball in junior high, scoring 50 points on people in junior high. He was 15, 16, dominating pro leagues because pro leagues were everywhere. So semi-pro is pro. But see, they want to make you think it's not, like you didn't make it. You know, and it's like I had to look at me. It's like I basically played semi-pro basketball for 20 years and I started reffing. I mean, some days I would play, and then the rest of the night I would ref. I would have them scheduled where I played my game first, and then I would ref the rest of the night. So, and then some days I wouldn't. And I would, like, guys would be complaining. I would sit there and look, and I was like, I am better than all y'all. I don't want to hear complaining. You can't touch people. If you file it, I'm going to call it. But I don't want to hear complaining. Ain't none of y'all better than me. And they'd be like, well, you didn't have to tell us like that. We know you're better than us. But I would like get tired of hearing it, and I'd kick dudes out the gym. Like, I'm gonna be waiting for you and get you back in your car, and I'm like, yeah, my car is the blue car out there. Yeah, I'm driving the blue Lincoln, so it's right there in front. You want me? Just meet me at the blue Lincoln. They're all demons. They don't care and have no souls. They worship their God Baal. Yeah, I mean it's that's what they turn it into. I mean that's my thing of the continuous ball game of the hero twins. They've corrupted it, and they've corrupted it spiritually because there's a spiritualness to it. Again, this thing was meant to divert wars. It was, instead of war, we play this ball game, and it was subtle. I mean that's why when you hear the hero twins playing the gods, that's what they're trying to tell you. We ain't got to kill each other. And I'll tell you something else is even medieval war wasn't quite what they say it was. Reading about Isabella, some of the wars they wasn't even killing each other. Like, do y'all remember when they were showing Zulu? Remember when they showed the original, not the 60s Zulu show, but when they showed Zulu's the Zulu King's life story, that one, which was probably 80s. When you see that one, when they were showing Africans fight each other, when they went to war, they was just throwing spears at each other. And then Shaka, that's Shaka Zulu. And then when Shaka came, he was the one that was starting to kill the other people. But up to that point, they didn't even kill people. They would go to war and they would just throw spears at each other. But I caught the same thing in Isabella's work, where sometimes they wouldn't really just, like when they would fight the Moors, they wouldn't just try to murder all of them. They would fight them and shoot cannons at each other, and a few people would die. But it was like one or the other side would just give up and they would stop killing each other, go have lunch together. So it wasn't all about the blood and guts all the time like we're made to believe. You know, war wasn't all, and that's the thing with Shaka. It was like wars up to that point was not about color just changed. wasn't about the murder. It was like you blew off steam on these disagreements. So it wasn't always about that blood. So, and now it is. Now it is. What do you think about LeBron buying shares with the Boston Red Sox? I think as much say as what goes on as the Red Sox as you and I. Exactly. But they're setting him up. See, they might be setting him up to own baseball instead of owning the NBA team. That could be. Could be clues for Red Sox to win soon. But Sosa, I bet that's what they're setting up instead of giving LeBron like Michael Jordan, because they don't want that. They don't want, Michael, like they say, Michael is the brokest of the owners. He's the least wealthy of all the owners. LeBron was allowed to buy shares for some agenda. Yeah, Maurice, again, yeah, of course. But I think that's what they're doing. They don't want LeBron to be like Mike. That'd be interesting because he's going to have the money. Like they put Jeter in the position. So that would be interesting if they did that instead. Let him buy baseball instead of allowing him. But I don't think he got enough money to buy the Red Sox. So Red Sox got a lot of old history. And I think I have to look up the owners. Matter of fact, I'm going to look that up. See who owns. Oh, good. It didn't go into the water. I got to find a better system. Oh, I saw a movie. I wanted to maybe I blew it. Oh my goodness, that uncut Superman movie on Cinemax, 4 hours. 4 hours. Who's gonna sit for 4 hours? It would take me a week to watch a movie. This year in the NBA, MLB, the baseball isn't juiced, so unders will hit unders will hit in a lot of games, and the league won't have more than 42. Interesting. But yeah, that 4 hour movie is just, I don't care how much you cut it, that's too long a movie. But I saw a movie called Synchronicity with the dude who plays the Falcon, or he's going to be the new Captain America. I think it's called Synchronicity. And it's basically, I don't want to do a spoiler, but it's basically about a new drug. And the drug actually puts you in a time door. And so where you are will take you. So it's like where I'll be sitting right here and I take this drug. When I start tripping for 7 minutes, I'm going to go back in time at this exact spot. So whatever happened, it would take me in. And what he does is he finds different places in his house would take him back to different doorways. And what's interesting, they took him back to the Ice Age. And even though the dude has long hair and stuff, it's a brother in Ice Age, which I thought was interesting. And he goes back a couple times. One time he goes back to a door and he gets around where his house was like old Louisiana, where just European people lived. It was like clans European. So he had to kind of duck and dodge, but a very interesting concept. And of course, he saves like the girl that would be his niece at the end, but a very interesting concept. If you're into time travel, that a chemical could put you in time. That is something to do, because that's saying something artificial that the me or the my could create could open a doorway chemically, which I have never even, well, maybe I'm over speaking now I think about it, but because acid at some point could give you a little bit of that too. DMT could probably hit you in a doorway too, now to think about it, but not to that point, because if you take DMT or you took acid it could put you in a doorway, but it wouldn't put you in a doorway where it was physical. You could see it, but like if somebody shot at you or something like that, you wouldn't be harmed. That was my experience. But this movie was saying you could take this artificial chemical and you could go back in time and you could be harmed. Because this one chick gets bit by a big copperhead. I mean, like a 10, 15-foot copperhead bites this lady. And they're trying to figure, the animal control sees this big bite on her leg, and the animal control dude, which was another brother they put in the movie, and he only got that one scene, but he was like, that kind of snake ain't been around here forever, so we can't figure it out what it is. So interesting movie. Oh, okay, here we go. Dread. Can you speak on how music can heal or change your body? Certain songs make my hair stand up when I hear it, almost as if my soul is leaving my body. Yeah. Well, what you're feeling is Kundalini. If you and that's for anybody, if you really want to understand what Kundalini is you call it goosebumps. So if you get scared, that's Kundalini. So if you get scared, or if you play sports, you get butterflies. That is probably why it's been easy for me. You get butterflies. See, mine is moving now. I'll pass some of that on. But yeah, you saying your hair standing up. So there are certain tones that you respond to. That's like I was saying with music. It's like when a new song comes out and it's the certain tones and vibrations, you respond to it. Now, it may only last for a week or two, but then another tone will come up that you move to. That is why some killer songs come out and it'll spread across the nation, because these songs hit everybody. And again, the more they push, because the way music is played on the radio, it's the same 10, 15 songs that's played for 8 hours. I know if you listen to the European stations around here, I used to go crazy working with Bugsy because it would be basically the same 8 to 10 songs for 8 hours. They would just play the same 8 to 10 songs over and over again. And what I came to realize, these dudes was just like the white noise. They just like the noise. And so that's what it's like. That's why singing bowls are so effective, is that they can create certain healing tones. And so that's why jazz is really good, but even classical music, because you're getting a pure form of music. And so with classical music is you have so many different instruments playing at the same time, creating the same tone. And so you have a lot of different energies combined that could move you, compared to jazz is 3-4 people, swing or bebop came in, you put the horns, you have a few more people. Because remember, when Charlie Parker was alive, it was the sax that was driving the music. That like you later would see a person solo with the guitar. Well, in the 40s, early 50s, it was somebody on that sax that was making the people move. So it's been different instruments that had that point. Is a guy just get up there and just chop, and that's what's moving the party. When a person is bopping and stuff, and the person is playing the sax, and you can bop to it. So that is why. So it's something inside of you that reacts to different tones. That's why some of the music is trash. It's like that not the Wet Ass Pussy song, but her other song about pussy is the one they playing more than Wet Ass Pussy. She's got another song about pussy. And that song, again, if you just turned off her music, the hook is, and that's why they call it a hook, to hook you in. That song is the beat, but you're listening to trash, so you have to turn it off. And so, and I'll give you the thing is like with these singing bowls, there's like, I can hit these, like, I know this may sound distorted, but it's moving the argonaut in here. And so you're actually getting a little bit of a crystal sound when you hear that distortion from the argonaut. And so I'm giving you a little crystal energy, but it's like these different tones, because we physically react to different tones. That's why I do healing. Like when I put this big bowl on your back and I hit it, people love it. People love it. I'll put it on some ladies or some people's, not just ladies, I'll put it on some people's like butt, and then I'll put it in their mid back. And if they can stand it, their upper back. And then I have the tuning forks. That's why tuning forks are so valuable, because you can actually get down into the nerve. you can activate this certain sound that you can put the sound into the nerve almost. Because like, this is the problems I'm having with my elbows. And I hit the tuning fork and I can put the healing sound right in here to the exact spot. That is where tuning forks is valuable. You can't hear them on the mic here, but you can actually put that, and so it goes deeper into you. Because I go to some doctors and look at their tuning forks, and my tuning forks cost more than theirs. But again, they're not buying it for the same purpose. So, but yeah, certain frequencies, what I miss. But yeah, 4 hours is too long. Well, thank you for that, Barbara. They say they put movies in and TV shows, most likely something exists or soon to be. Sometime, Maurice, they do. LeBron owns 2%. Where stake in Liverpool. I knew that. Now valued at 32 million, like 32. Yep. 23. Has 6 championships. I've always wondered what that was. Frequency is very powerful. Yes, so it is. Hey, conscious daughter, thank you for joining me. Good to hear from you. I love your work. You talking about binary beats. 432 hertz. Well, the perfect fifth is the 528. The 528 is the perfect fifth. And so that's the perfect sound, or that's the universal sound is the perfect fifth. Yep. But 432 hertz, one of them is like that. And the other, okay. So it's, and then you put the auto on them, like you have just the regular tuning forks, and then you have the tuning forks that have the auto parts on there. And that changes, I want to say that changes the 432 to the 528, but the perfect fit. Again, I'm trying to remember. But yeah, you put that on a person and you can actually, because like one of my tuning forks is for the lower part of your body. It's a long one. My other one is so big. And I use these singing bowls and I use the tuning forks. And then people say it almost feels to them like it's a massage in some ways. Because I put this tuning fork on your back or your butt, I mean, it goes deep in you. I'll hit it and all that vibration is going into you. And that's the same thing with the tuning fork. It's going deep into you. The tuning fork is a little deeper. But when I put this big bowl on your butt or in the middle of your back, it goes deep into your system. And that's what people have told me. It feels almost like they get a massage. Have you heard about the radio playing music at a bad hertz to lower the vibration of everyone? Well, that's a good point, because one thing I noticed, and I used to always harp on my friends, is you'd be surprised when I went to college, because A&T, when you live in the South, you got nothing but black radio stations, for a better word. It's nothing but, black radio stations. But bringing up this point is, you would have been surprised how many college students, when I went to college, again, I'm talking 40 years ago, but how many college students slept with radios? It just blew my mind. Like, you would go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and you would hear almost every room with the music playing. And I used to tell people, I used to plead with them, I'm like, you cannot let this music play all night. They can say anything while you are laying there. They can put any of these tones out while you are laying there to mess with your subconscious. And, deaf ears. And so, yes, absolutely. I mean, like I was saying with this other Cardi B song, there's something pussy. It ain't wet ass pussy. It's another song. She got another song about pussy. And this song, again, is catchy, but I could just listen to it and feel my vibrations going down. But they try to keep you in with the hook. That's what the hook is meaning. But it's just listening to it, you can just feel your vibration going down. I imagine you just riding, just think about it like this. You riding and you hear a song that raises your vibration up. They might turn around and play a song that lower your vibration. Just listen to the music and you can see how it's making you feel. And that's the thing. It is. They do. Like Jimi Hendrix is one of the ones that changed the hertz that he played in. He tried to play into a hertz, and the way he called it is the universal sound. He tried to tap into the universal sound. Remember, Jimi Hendrix jumped out of airplanes and stuff. So he tried to copy that sound with a guitar. And so he was trying to raise people's vibration. That is why they kept him off at Woodstock when there was 500,000 people. After Sly Stone said, "Can I take you higher?" If that night they'd have put Jimi Hendrix there right after Sly Stone, instead of holding him to the next morning when everybody left, a lot of minds would have opened up. Matter of fact, they were so scared of Jimi Hendrix when Jimi Hendrix did play over 500,000 people in Atlanta. They held on to that film for 30 years. That film was shot in 68 or 69. They didn't release that film until 15 or 16. That's how much afraid of it they were, because Jimi Hendrix music wakes you up, definitely wakes you up. I could say that's the one thing that probably made me in tune to everything, was listening to him at a young age. It probably broke some of my calcification, because most of us are calcified. So yeah, stay away from F 440 hertz chaos frequency. Well, thank you, Ethan. Kanye West is reportedly the richest rapper now at 66. And it's like, when they say the 6 feet apart, it's like 666. You see in the dots on the floor, and you just looking at this shit. It's like, because the numbers in itself is not the thing. It's the way they're used, the way they're applied in the magic that they're using, in the dark magic or the left-hand magic they're using, or the negative magic that they're using against us. But you're just sitting there looking at it, 6 foot, 6 foot, 6 foot, and it's right in your face. And these people, like, it just amazes me where people will stand on the dots and shit. It's like it's a penalty if you don't stand on the dot. That's what gets me. That is how controlled people are. People will actually stand on them goddamn dots. And I'm just looking at these people like, you got to be kidding me. You really got to be kidding. You standing on that dot. Is 3432 good for relaxing? I wish I had the book right here. I will give you a comment. But yeah, I think so. But the perfect fifth is the one, and I think that's 528. That is the universal sound. So, but I believe the 432 is as well. But again, I haven't studied in a while, so please forgive me. Trill John, they would never stop doing the Jesus ritual. I think the song is called Up. The beat is nice, and it's up. Yeah. That's it. But she's talking about her pussy again. Yep. Talked about playing his music at a higher vibration right before he was killed. Not surprised. When the song Redbone by Childish Gambino is a low frequency song triggered to keep us fake woke. I'm not surprised by that. On a daily, I still have Moray's Quicksand on the thought of my day all day. The very comment. Thank you for introducing. Yeah, I listen to. He's got several songs out, and they're playing him on the radio now on what's it called? iHeartRadio. They've been playing him on iHeartRadio as an up and coming artist. So, and he did 20 million views. He's probably up higher than that. Quicksand has done over 20 million views. You know how much bread that is? 20 million views for Quicksand. I discovered Jimmy's music backwards, starting with the band of gypsies and ending with the original Experience. Okay, Starfleet. Matter of fact, you can get a Band of Gypsies album, some of their practice album they released. They was bootleg ones, but now his stepsister that owns it, she bought all that stuff. Because when I was in my 20s, there was a lot of bootleg Jimi Hendrix music. There's a Jimi Hendrix song, and I'll just give you the initials. It's called FHTA. FHTA, and that's what he sings. But one song he sings is kind of sweet, and I don't know but it's called "She's a Fox." Him and King Curtis sang it. Some girls got it, some girls don't. Some girls can do it, and some girls can't, 'cause she's a fox now. My baby, she's a stone fox. And that was on one of the bootleg songs. But yeah, look up the song with Jimi Hendrix. It's FHTA. That's what the song is. That's Jimi Hendrix singing and saying that shit. He probably was buzzed or something. Yeah, Moray Quicksand. It is that fire. That song is just taking off. It is, but he has a lot of nice ones. He's got he shot 2 other videos. So some of his other songs, I know the middle song he did. You could tell that the production wasn't quite, but he did. Let me see. Because he's like, I got a family to feed. Let me see. what's it called? Switched Up. Switched Up. It's called Switched Up, I think. Is his new song called Switched Up. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's called Switched Up. But nice music, you know. Brother that was hustling. But he has another, it's called Switched Up, and the other one is called Big Decisions. And that's a better production. Switched Up is okay, but he has another one called Big Decisions. That's kind of nice too. Brother from Fayetteville, North Carolina. He says, how did he go? He says, his friend gave him a lick, and he said it was good enough for a quick fix. And I mean, he really works that shit out. He's like, it was good enough for a quick fix, which is kind of smooth, you know. That gets my Kundalini. The song Redbone was never turned into a video, only performed live. I did a video showing the Masonic ritual they did on Jimmy Fallon's show. Wow, I have to watch that. James Murray is an industry plant. I don't know. I don't know if he's an industry plant yet. I think this is the thing. And remember, what's his name on Zach's channel? Like, oh gosh, but that brother showed 100. What was it? 103. It ended up being murdered last year. 103 rappers ended up murdered last year. 103, something like that. It was between 98 and 103. Rapping is a deadly business. Okay, now he got 20 million views playing on iHeartRadio. You just never know. You never know. So I would say that he's a target now. That kind of success makes you a target. That kind of success makes you a target. So, and the price of fame is hell. Remember that. That's the price. The price of fame is hell. You know, you sign your name in blood. Again, the contracts is that Harry Potter shit. You are looking at yourself doing whatever you do. Before it was like a 3D card and you just signed over the 3D card. Now it's that Harry Potter shit now. You are actually moving in this mug and you signing right on you. It's like they showing that Harry Potter shit. That is how the contracts are. Don't ask me how they do it because I couldn't tell you. I don't even know how they did the 3D contracts. That's what they used to do. But now they have that Harry Potter shit where you are actually moving. You are actually doing a performance or whatever you do and you signing over that. And that bonds you to that, all that. But I'll check that out, Conscious Daughter, because you do excellent work. She does excellent work. Infinite Conscious, Jonathan on Zach's channel. Yeah. Infinite Conscious. Yeah, because since they cut me off, I lost his work. Because he was checking me out. Infinite Conscious, yeah. Jonathan is his name. Thank you for telling me that. But yeah, he did the numbers, and rapping is very deadly. Rapping is very deadly. I mean, remember what Snoop did? How many people, if I get in the car and somebody shoots somebody while I'm in the car, I'm going to jail for murder. Snoop got off of that. So do you see how they paid? They paid him. How do you know the contracts are like that? Because Prince and Eddie Murphy, I think, were the first to sign those type of contracts. Prince and Eddie Murphy were the first to sign those type of contracts. I think Michael Jackson signed one of those too. Might have been Michael Jackson. But research. This is the research community, and that's how I know, is because I researched it. And so do research, Rocky, and you can find that as well. It ain't just me, but you can find that as well. Zach had a lady on to start off on Wednesday who involved in the music industry. She sounded like she was telling the truth, exposing it. Young Pharaoh. What do you think about Young Pharaoh? I don't think anything. I think he did, what was that, about 2 years ago? He did a thing exposing the Kabbalah, the Cube, and Stonehenge. That was all good work. But other than that, I really ain't. The other dude is funny. The other dude from Detroit said that he made his way. What did he say? He sold crack so he could go to Kemet. He's like, well, you know, the crack. Oh, I mean, just that dude is so funny. He is just comical. So it's hard to take them serious, either one of them. I don't have any opinion other than that. I couldn't tell you anything else he made. It was like even Brother Plight, he was talking about the artificial light, which even going back to Johnson, when Johnson, you know, his early work about ADHD and stuff, it's some solid work there. But, you know, again, they all turned out to be pretty much frauds. So, and that's what they seem to want to do you. It's like if you put out good work at first, they pay you off, and then they turn you into a fraud. It kind of seems like that's the thing. And it seems like a lot of them brothers, you know, get caught up into that. And it's like, this is what you saw, is you saw the Indian community attack all them brothers in New York. Okay, all them brothers in New York were shown to pretty much be frauds. And then you had the Indian community attacking their other enemy community. And so the thing is when are the attacks going to stop? Because it's nothing but divide and conquer. So if you keep attacking people, I mean, fraud shows up. Again, I think they pay these people and then they expose their fraudulence. They expose them as being frauds. So what you have to remember is, how long is you going to just keep attacking people? It's like the one dude who just does shows and it made money just attacking Johnson. I mean, when is it enough? I mean, that's our history, attacking our own people over and over again. But when is it enough? The man is down. So why are you going to keep kicking him down? That's what I don't get. The man fart, dude making a video of him farting. I mean, that'll make you go crazy. It's like the man can't do anything now, and it's all criticized. Again, he did it to himself, but it's got to come a time where we quit attacking each other and say, okay, this is our difference and this is your difference. Now, what do we have in common? Because money will corrupt people. Money will corrupt you. Or no, I'm not going to say it will, but it can. You know, what does Cyndi Lauper say? Money changes everything. But the thing is keep your own power with it. Like, I want to get into Cindy's thing. I can't figure out how to make videos on Cindy's platform. I want to get into her platform a little more because Cyndi runs that platform. So I want to get into Wake Up Radio. I want to get into her. I haven't been able to figure out how to get into it and make videos. I thought I made one, and now since I switched phones, I'm not sure. So I'm going to have to call Sly or email Cyndi, and they can walk me through how to make videos, because I want to make videos on her platform, because it's something new that, you know, the more of us go over there, the more of us can spread it. TalkShoe is a great platform as well. I mean, they mess me around a little bit sometimes. They don't want to let me record because I do both. I do this and TalkShoe at the same time. So yeah, Polite showed that he was fake. I want to make music for fun and not for a career. There you go. Are you fake woke? The name of the video. What do you think about? Yeah, so make music for fun. Me too. That's why I like just doing breaks at the beginning of songs. You know, I love that. That's how really it was even before hip hop. One of my cousins was giving parties. And so when he went to college, I started giving parties. So I always had two turntables, and this is before hip hop. This is like, well, I guess hip hop in New York was going on, but we was just giving parties. So that became all of our habits. We got two turntables and we got a mixing board. And so my cousin goes to college. We start giving parties. My brother was probably one of the best DJs to ever come out of the Kalamazoo Battle Creek area. I mean, this dude was, when my brother was in 10th or 11th grade, he gave a house party, and 7,000 people tried to come to the house party. It was that many people that tried to come to this house party. It was like the street was packed with people because he was throwing a party. He was in there blending. And that's kind of what we did. We blended more than mixed. We kind of blended. Now, he's a little younger than me, so hip hop kind of, what was going on in New York, kind of, he did his thing. But up to then, we was just doing parties. And then when my brother went into the military, my stepdad, his dad, started doing the same thing. He took up, you know, we left him the information. He started doing parties because he had the equipment. So when I went to college, I had two turntables. I couldn't afford to buy new needles. Why do you keep asking that, Jay? I'm missing your point, Jay. Why you keep asking me? I did mean. There you go. I like Polite. But I was gonna say, I didn't finish my point about Polite, but Polite did a thing that he was talking about natural light compared to this type of light, and what it does to your brain, what it does to your receptors in your eyes, and it was very on point. Now the rest of the stuff I couldn't tell you what else he did, but I remember listening to him that one time. But I just don't really listen to them cats. I listen to Conscious Daughter. I listen to Quantum Conscious, that cat. I listen to Sly stuff. I listen to Nick. So I listen to kind of the little group that I'm around. That's who I support. And I look up a lot of old sports stuff, like OJ saying, "For the love of money." Yes, and his son sacrificed 2 sons, not just one. He had 2 sons sacrificed. Okay, Jay, I think you are trolling. You got one more time to ask that, Jay, because I think you trolling. You thought the stream ended. Okay. Where was the party at 7,000 people can fit into one building? Oh, no, it wasn't a building. This was a house. This was a house. And everybody couldn't fit in the house. This was a house. It was like the whole city tried to just go into this house. So the whole block was just packed with people. Now, when I used to give raves, I'd put a bunch of people up into an old warehouse. Lakers, Ibram, say looking good. Jay Santos, yes, the live Morris Place D1. It's not a video. That's pre-recorded. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if you are trolling, Jay. Why? Why are you trolling? I don't get it. So you got one more time to ask that. So since I have a break, I do want to do the divinations. And so we are at 13 platoons, 0 contunes, 8 tunes. We are at 6 Uno, and it should be 10 kin. And we are at Ak. And Ak is dog, mammalian brain, emotional life, guide, and principle of loyalty, faithfulness that gives strength in the spiritual journey, and the energy is coming from the north. And so tomorrow, if you have any manifestations to do, use the north, because you're going to get a little more push from the north. And then for those of you that want the fractal, that is the fractal from the Mayan, that is older than the Toltec. And Toltec is Escalante or dog. It's real short too. In this card, we see a Yanni with his double or energetic body coming out of his neck while he manipulates some sacred herbs. The footprints represents the Yanni's journey, and his double symbolically represents as a dog, is bringing an offering to the deity. Getting the dog card is a sign of traveling without losing your connection with the place you are coming from. It represents also the virtue of faithfulness towards someone or something. As a double being, we cannot achieve healing and wellness if we do not honor the tonal and nagal sides of our being. The problem is that in modern times, humans are generally absorbed in their minds only, trapped in the side of the reason, so to speak. But reasons get sick if it is not balanced by the efficient and continued use of awareness of the other self, which is based not in reason, but in the silent knowledge. It is our magical side. The dog represents your journey into the experience of your other self for the sake of achieving completion and integral development. The time is prosperous for practice that leads in that direction. The other important meaning of the dog is fidelity. Getting this card may mean that someone loyal to you is playing an important role in your life, perhaps without your full acknowledgement. The card can also mean that you may be called to stand up for someone or something and be loyal to that person or cause, despite the difficulties that you may face by doing so. This is not a small case, because very often our growth depends upon our capacity to serve others. At the end, being loyal to your heart and its connection will orient you in times of uncertainty. So if anybody can use that, going ahead, what time is it? Okay. Going ahead, let me see. Make a list of dreams that come to your mind easily. Keep reaching for more, allowing yourself to write down even bigger dreams. Organize your list in a way that shows which dreams mean the most to you, which one has priority, and choose the one which to approach first. Uh, yeah. Find out which one, the one you don't want to die without having accomplished. Devote at least 15 minutes every other day to visualizing your mind in your dreams. Practice and provide detail and depth, and let your dreams expand in front of your eyes. Who supports you at this moment? Which of the people I love is needing or a helping hand? Which would be real support for that person? What would that take from me? Am I willing to do it without expecting a reward? Can I do that without disrespecting my heart? Who have I been failing? How could I have wounds coming from such failings? If you discover that person that needs your support, have a conversation with them. Plan your goals, strategy, and timing in advance. Connect the person who needs your support that is congruent with your plan. Incorporate your vision sensitivity to that person's reaction, circumstances, dynamic of the situation, and so on. Do not expect your initial perspective to include everything that is involved. And so you have to timing, like they were saying with comedians, timing is everything, and that's why I say timelessness, because that encompasses a lot, because it also puts you at the right place at the right time, doing the right deed when it should be done, grabbing your power when you need it the most. Timing is so important. It's like being at the right place at the right time. And so consider that as you make your moves. Like you can stand, it's like the way bank robbers would do. Bank robbers might not go in there today. He might watch for another day. And I know that's exaggerated, but what I'm saying is, if you have an idea, you have to really, do you want to present and I'm not saying being discouraged, but I'm saying just read the crowd. Read the crowd. Is it time to put my ideal in? So not discouragement, but I'm saying read the crowd. And if the crowd seems favorable for what you have to say, push it out there. But if you get a feeling where, and again, have confidence, go in there with confidence. But if something's like, let me hold on to this. It's things that I won't say on here because I'll hold on to it to a better time. So timing is a great part. I don't know, Derek. I don't know if that's true or not. That he has that much. I mean, look up $197 million shot contest and tell me what you think. Okay, Jason. I think I heard about that before. I don't know, Derek. Cat and ain't went off. How would they expect 7,000 people to fit in the house? They try to just party on the streets next to the house. That's what they did. They partied in the backyard and the yard next to it. The street was jam-packed, and they talked about that. Some people bring it up as one of the best parties ever thrown at Battle Creek. You had people from Albion, Jackson that was trying to come into Battle Creek. Almost time. I already asked Derek. He answered. Okay. So many 6-6 lately in the news. Kanye, Hagler. Yeah, Hagler was a big 6-6 ritual. And they said Hagler had the injection. They said he had the injection. Thanks for asking. My kids keep telling me I'm losing it. Yeah, thanks. Okay. We see. So yeah. So but just consider that in your life. Read the crowd. That's very important, to be able to read the crowd. Even going to an interview, read. Like when you step in their office or wherever the interview is, look around you, see little cues. And I'm not saying you got to kiss up to somebody, but I'm just saying, see the cues that surround a person. Most people, especially if you go in their office, have a love me wall. If it's their own personal office, they got a love me wall. And so look at their love me wall. And without kissing ass, say, what's the little thing that you might be kind of connected. It may not necessarily mean you get it, but he might have something favorable to say, you know what, maybe you didn't get it this time, but I know so-and-so that might can use you. So you never know how these little cues can help you. So just pay attention as you go to do your thing. But reading the crowd is the biggest thing you can do, is read the crowd. So you know what's appropriate to put out information. And it's like, you can't change anybody. You shouldn't want to save anybody. You should want to save yourself. Now, if you have children, of course, that's your you're the natural guardians of them. So of course, but remember, you shouldn't try to change minds. All you can do is bring this information, and people that respond to it. You can't force information on the people. Like, I don't take my children. My children aren't favorable, but my children are around this environment, and so they can't get away from this type of magic that I do. They're going to be part of it, just as it was given to me through my great grandfather and my grandfather. So it's like it's not going to be for all my children. Like, I want to have my 19-year-old son up here and then see if I can get him to talk, because spiritually and just snapping stuff off, he's kind of amazing in some ways. He gets really deep into things. I wish he would do the story about purgatory, because playing the video game Dante's Inferno, but also knowing the story, we would just have deep conversations. And but I would like to get him on. I just don't know if he'd do it. He'll be here Sunday, Monday, so maybe we'll see if he'll want to do it. Master emotional intelligence. Yes, exactly. You do. And be able to read the people. As you go through these selling yourself or selling your ideas, read the people going in and see how much information you want to put out there. It's like I've said before, some things that disappointed with Zach is he attacks the very people that support him. And it reminds me of like the guy I used to work with. And we go in to pitch his idea, which he was right. They should have bought the shit. But he would be like, you're stupid if you don't buy it. He would almost use those kind of words, like you're stupid if you don't buy it. Then he didn't like being questioned. Because when he was questioned, he didn't like being questioned, which was another one of his faults. I used to like when people would question me when we were trying to sell. That was kind of reeling them in. When they started asking you questions, he looked at it opposite. He looked at it as attacks. He went in there like, I'm the smartest person in the room. You need this. I'm telling you how this is going to work and help your business and be more efficient. And so he looked at it as, I gave you everything. Don't question me, because I told you everything. But the people that hold the money always have questions. That's what he didn't understand. And he got insulted by it. And he felt attacked when it was part of selling. It was part of selling is questions. He was weak on that part. Dante's Inferno was off the chain. I got into it so much that the game reset itself. Oh yeah, my son, no, he gets the storytelling about it. And his just spiritual understanding. Again, purgatory. If you watch American Gods, the chick that in the beginning, Shadow's wife, and she got sent to purgatory. And it's interesting that they show that concept. The magicians kind of show purgatory too. Wes Paneri calls it the middle place, which he's talking about purgatory. But it shows you how to be dead. And then Akashic Records would be easier to access it. And that's, you can access it without being dead, but but that's part of showing you how to prepare to be dead. Everybody won't get that, but if you do get that, that's an advantage. That's definitely an advantage. But it's better to get them when you're still alive. Mine are a bitch because it's a damn long room like the old-fashioned newspapers. Newspapers had the one roller that went through the whole plant. This roller was miles long. I mean, if you cut it, and that's like when they would have union talks, people would cut the damn belt. So I used to have to do security and have my people sit on where they could cut these belts. So I had to put 6-7 minutes, dirty work. I had to pay my guys extra. But this was kind of my Acoustic Records was one of those dang things where I have to climb up, and it's like the old newspapers be coming under you and stuff, and that's how they would check the newspapers. They had certain spots, but that's how my Acoustic Records came. I don't know if that was they playing a joke on me or what, but it's like I had to grab the paper and then, okay, this is I did this then, and I had to walk down and get on another one. So yeah, not fun and time consuming. And then trying to remember, because a lot of times it's certain crystals that can, oh, and I didn't bring my selenite. There's a piece right there. I didn't bring it in here. I meant to bring it in here. But there are crystals that can help you remember these communications and stuff as well. So, yeah. How long have I been going? Oh, a couple hours. Okay. I'll go a little longer. I don't know. My butt's getting kind of sore. My leg's starting to hurt. So maybe I will. I want to do a little before I do leave. I do want to do another. Exercise. So trying to think how I want to do this. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Let me cut this one off. All right. A little better. Without the lights being in my eyes. Okay. I have an idea what I want to do in this technique. I just want to work it out. So just get with me. Okay. So we're going to start off again in the hallway. Okay. This is going to be it. So we're going to start off again in the hallway. So just imagine you're like a school hallway, work hallway, just in the hallway. And again, several doors on each side. Several doors on each side. So the first room we're going to go into is we're going to go into the room that holds everyone's that's listening or will listen in the future first grade class. We're going into a room that's going to hold everyone's first grade class. So if you're watching now or you're watching from the past, watching the future, everyone, this is going to continue. So imagine what your first grade class looked like. So stepping in the door. Was there a flag that hung from the door? What was the color of the room? Were there windows? Which way were the desks faced? Were the desks in rows? The desk in a circle? When you looked over, did you have a big chalkboard? Did you have one chalkboard? Did you have a drinking fountain? Did you have a place to wash your hands? Was it a bathroom in that classroom? Look at the teacher. Find the desk you sat in, or the desk you might remember that you sat in. Find that desk, sit down. Now look around. How many of the students that you can remember that were in first grade? Look around. Find the one you most remember. What one child did you remember? Now there's several. Look at them, greet them. Look in your desk. Can you remember anything from your first grade desk? I know in first grade, I was reading the Dick and Jane books. So I'm pulling out the Dick and Jane book. Look at Dick. Dick can run. Where is Spot? Spot can run. The ball is red. Did you have crayons? Was your desk messy? Do you have pencils? Do you have erasers? Do you have a binder? Locate those things. Now, do you remember what the clothes you had when you were in first grade? You remember? I always bought my boys sweatsuits from Walmart, just tops and bottoms. But can you remember the kind of clothes you wore? Can you remember the kind of shoes you wore? Can you remember any of your socks from first grade? Some of you might have had those Granimals, those animal Sears kind of socks and clothes that matched. Now look up to the teacher. Was the teacher's desk in the front of the room, on the side of the room, in the back? Can you remember where the teacher's desk was? Locate her. Do you remember the teacher's name? Was it a man? Was it a woman? Okay. Turn me off. Was your teacher a man or a woman? All right, go back into the hall. The room across was the gym from your first grade. Do you remember what your first grade gym looked like? Was it a gym floor? Was it a tile floor? Did it have baskets? Did you eat lunch in that room? Think about when you were in first grade. What did your gymnasium look like? Mine had a tile floor, and we ate lunch in that room. Must be a lot of energy in the room. These cats are fidgety. So remember, what did the gym look like? Next, can you remember the games you played in that gym? Did you shoot up hoops? You play volleyball? Did you play duck, duck, goose? Play tag? You play dodgeball? Did you have a special pair of tennis shoes, or was it the same tennis shoes that you wore all day? Do you remember? Do you remember the gym teacher's name? Can you remember what he looked like? Did you have a gym teacher, or was your teacher the gym teacher? All right, come out of that room. The next room we're going to go into is the playground. Just step into the next room. Look out at the playground from being in first grade. Did you have swings? Did you have outdoor hoops? Jump ropes? Jungle gyms? What did you have? Concentrate. Try to remember what was there when you were in first grade. Go out into the field and run. Feel what it feels like being 6 years old and running, carefree. When I was in first grade, we used to play marbles. I'd throw a marble out, the other person would try to get it. We actually gambled marbles. There was no hoops. There wasn't even any playground equipment. It was just an open field. And we just played marbles and chased each other. What was in your field? What was in your playground? What did you do? Just remember, when you were 6 years old, what was your playground like? Can you even remember the name of the school? What was the name of the school? Can you see the school? Can you imagine the school? Can you imagine the field? Can you imagine the playground? Now, come back into the hallway. Now, in the next room, how did you get to school? Did you ride a bus? Did your parents take you? Did you walk? Whichever way that you came, put yourself there. I used to get dropped off by my father. My father would take me every morning. I can remember the ride. I would just talk my head off until we got there. I can remember in first grade, my cousins were in kindergarten and they took the bus. And each bus had a Bugs Bunny character on it. That's how you remembered your bus. It wasn't the number, it was by the character. And I can remember wishing I rode a bus back then. But my dad always took me. No bus came from where I lived. So how did you get to school? All right, let's come out of that room. The next room is going to hold your home. Can you remember the home you lived in first grade? Can you remember the land around it? Can you remember what that home looked like when you were in first grade? When I was in first grade, we lived in a trailer in the back of my grandparents' property. My uncle had one trailer. We had the other one. Brand new. I remember when they dropped it off. The living room was pulled out. The damnedest thing that made the living room. It was actually folded into the trailer and they had to pull it out. And it popped out a living room. I guess that's considered a double wide. I don't remember. But walk into your home. When you open the door, what do you remember seeing? When I opened up the trailer, that pulled out living room was right there. First color television on a table I still own today. I remember the couch was like an orange color. Can you remember the furniture when you walked into your home? What color was the living room? What color was the living room? What did the furniture look like? Do you remember the dining room? Did you have a dining room? What did the dining room table look like? Were there pictures of you and your siblings or your parents on the walls? Can you remember any of that? Did you have curtains? What color were the curtains? Can you picture and see any of that? Now, take another step and go into your room that you had when you were in first grade. My room had its own shower and bathroom in the trailer. It was in the front of the trailer. My parents lived in the back. I was in the front, and I was never scared. There was a big tree outside the window, and I always felt that the tree protected me. So I would look up through my window and look at the big tree, and I was never scared because I always knew that the tree was there for me. So if I felt uncomfortable or anything, I would just look up the tree, and it just made me feel better. Not a very big room, but I had a sink in my room and a bathroom. And I can remember the closet. I can remember my toy bin. We used the old clothes bin where they packed all my toys. I remember my racetrack was in that room as well, in the closet. I remember I had a dresser, and all my clothes were in that dresser. My shoes were in the closet. And it wasn't like the wooden tile, the fake wood or the wooden kind of look. I can't think of what it's called right now. And so the color was almost like a beige in the room. Okay, like a light beige color was my room. What color was your bed? How big was your bed? Can you remember any of the sheets? Any of the covers? I had football sheets, football covers. What about your pillow? What color was your pillowcase? My pillowcase was football. It's a football design on my pillowcase. What about your pajamas or what you slept in? I had two pairs. I had a pair of green and a pair of blue football pajamas. One bottom was blue and the top was blue with a football guy on it. The other set was green. Green bottoms with a short sleeve top with a football guy on it. All right, come back out. All right, let's take a jump. Let's go to our junior highs. Picture you're looking at the doors of your junior high. Can you remember what they look like? Can you remember the name of your junior high? Can you remember how you felt that very first day going into junior high, hearing all these stories about what junior high was? Did you have cousins? Did you have friends that kind of told you what to expect? I went to Hillside Junior High. When you walked towards the doors, it was nothing but windows. No walls, just all windows. Kind of a 60s style thing. And I remember as soon as you walked in, the principal's office was on the left. Actually, you had to kind of walk around the corner until you left. You remember the floor? It wasn't quite a tile floor. It was more of a finished floor, I guess is the way. The windows everywhere. Every classroom, all the hallways, just windows. It was very few walls. There's more windows in the whole school. And I just remember that feeling, looking for my cousin, because my cousin was a year older than me. And remember finding him and feeling better when I saw him, because he came and he talked to me. You remember your locker? Can you remember your combination? That first combination you were given. But can you remember that very first locker where it was located? Can you remember your homeroom? Put yourself in your homeroom. Can you remember any of the students that was in your homeroom class? Can you remember your homeroom teacher? Mr. Argo, typing teacher, was my homeroom teacher. Makes me think of Dorothea Pink. After the end of 7th grade, I never saw her again. Can you remember anybody in your homeroom or from junior high other than family? Now, how did you dress? I remember my first day, I went to Sears. I had checker pants, like checks on them. I had a sweater vest with a butterfly collar, and I wore a bow tie. And I had 4-inch heels, platform shoes. I was probably over 6 foot with the platforms. They were brown, two-tone brown. Remember, I was probably just as tall as anybody in 7th grade with those shoes on. I had an afro. Can you remember what your hairstyle was? I had afro. So do you remember the cafeteria? Did you eat in the gym, or was it a cafeteria? Where we ate was where we had plays, assemblies, had a stage. I later did talent shows on that stage. Can you picture that? Can you picture where you ate in junior high? And what you ate? Can you remember the lines in junior high of what you ate? Did you have to just eat regular lunch, or did you have the option of like a la carte? I think my whole 7th grade year, I ate ice cream every day. As long as you bought it, ice cream and cookies. Now, can you remember the junior high gym? What did it look like? Was it big? Did it have stands? Or was your stage in your gym? Can you remember? Can you remember the colors of the gym? What was the colors of the school? I think my school colors was red and white. All right, let's take another jump. Let's go to high school. Remember your first day of high school, be it a freshman or a sophomore. I didn't go to high school till I was a sophomore. Some people went in 9th grade. Think about how you felt. Let's start with how you dressed. How did you dress on your first day of high school? What did you look like? What kind of clothes did you wear? What kind of shoes did you wear? I remember I had this baby blue jacket. I think I got it from my father. It was kind of corduroy, and I loved it. And I wore Sansa pants, high-waisted Sansa with a silk shirt with that corduroy jacket over it. And I wore Florsham shoes, patent leather Florsham shoes with a Big Apple hat. I can remember going to the doors the first time and seeing the mass number of students that tripled from the junior high. Can you remember where your locker was? I was lucky. My locker was as soon as I walked into the school. 20, 30 feet. It was right there on my left. But can you remember that feeling of the first day? Can you bring back that memory of your first day in the high school and how you felt? Again, I was looking for my cousin because my cousin was only a year older than me. But I had other cousins that was in the school as well. So I didn't feel alone. But did you have that? Did you feel alone? Did you feel intimidated? And I'm not trying to make anybody go through a bad experience. Now, can you remember where your homeroom was? I still had a homeroom in high school. Can you remember any of the students that you went to school with? When you went into a class, remember a certain class. Can you remember certain students that were in class with you? Can you picture their faces? Can you hear their voices? Can you remember where you ate lunch in that high school? Can you put yourself where you ate lunch? Can you remember what the lunchroom was like? Or did you eat in the gym like you did in junior high, if you did? Because my lunch was its own separate room. And you got to choose what you wanted to eat again. Now, can you picture the high school gym and how you felt the first time you had to go to the high school gym? Can you remember? Can you picture the high school locker room, going into the high school locker room, and how you felt the first time being in the high school locker room? Can you remember what your high school gym looked like? Can you picture yourself the first time seeing that high school gym and actually being able to run up and down the high school gym? Did that make you feel any kind of way? If you played sports, did that make you feel any kind of way? If you played sports, since we're in the gym, can you remember the first game you played in that gym and how you felt? Or if you just watched games, can you remember how you felt the first time you watched a game in that gym? I watched all my cousins and family play in that gym. And when it was finally my turn, I felt it was my time and I was ready for that time. I can remember that first feeling, playing that very first game in that gym. Feeling supremely confident in my abilities. But how did you feel? Just gym class, just the locker rooms. How did that make you feel? Now let's jump slightly. Can you remember when you graduated? What was graduation day like? Can you remember where you held your graduation at? Mine was at Miller Auditorium at Western Michigan University. I remember I rode with my best friend. We were walking into the building to go to put on our gowns, and I remember passing Brian Johnson. He was snorting cocaine in the car. He's like, "Do you want some?" Like, okay, I'll take a little bit. And we had already been smoking weed, so we were like really on by the time we got there. But do you remember walking into wherever you had it, outside, indoor, wherever? Can you remember that feeling of being a senior and finally graduating and being able to move ahead? So now you're in line waiting for them to call your name. Can you remember that feeling walking on the stage? How did you feel? I threw up the backward deuces. And after graduation, can you remember what you did? Did you go to a party? Did they have a big party at your house? I think I got $700 or $800 at the party at my house. I had a co-party with my cousin. I graduated with 4 cousins. Gonna have to cut it. It's a lot of energy going around. These cats are going crazy. It's bothering them. So I didn't want to bring up any bad feelings with anybody. Those weren't good experiences for you. Please forgive me. But the hallways are the key. The hallways are the key. And so you can use those hallways for ethers. You can use those hallways for astro, but the stronger is the Tsar. The Tsar movement is by far the strongest spiritual movement. It can interrupt any of these others. I don't care what anyone says, the Tsar movement is the strongest. It can interrupt any of that. And so, just a little taste. Hey, Lorenzo. Mine had a towel room, but was an auditorium. Hey, Edward, how are you doing? I hope things are going well for you, Edward. We are all going to send you some energy too, Edward. I hope things are going well for you. Damn, I did it that long? Well, these are just little spiritual movements. And I'm going to have a guest that we're going to talk a little bit more about meditation tomorrow. I have a special guest tomorrow. We're going to get into meditation. You know, I'll do any sports that anytime that, but I like to get the spiritual stuff into it too. So I hope everybody's broke free. Okay, I'm breaking everybody free. I don't want you to still be going through it. Again, I don't want to bring up any hard feelings to anybody. You know, if those were bad experiences, then I'm sorry. That wasn't my intent to bring up bad experiences. So, well, thank you. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am 8 Wind is Timeless. And as you know, I always end with Eshawn. So I'm not a New York rapper or a LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. Thank you all very much for joining. Till we meet again.